Go. This is a shrug. Come on back in. Step shrug, Tony. Back out. Ready? Go. This is a shrug. Come back again. Smash and shrug. Ready? Go. This is a shrug. Back again. Tony, and sit out. Hit your shrug. Ready? Go. This is a shrug in a sit-out. Come up to your second level. Back this way a little bit. Come up to your second level. Hit your shrug. This is a shrug. Come back again. Change over and shrug. Go. This is a shrug. Come back again. Chris, reverse smash. Ready? Yep. And this is a shrug. On this Granby system video, we're going to show you this and much more. We're going to teach you the shrug, the ways to do it, how to do it, why to do it. We're going to teach you how it combines with the powerful Granby, which you may already know something about. You may have seen the video on the Granby. If so, you're going to see the sister hold to it. It complements it and makes bottom work so good. We're also going to show and teach the new and just terrific Granby Shrug, a hold that combines the best of the Shrug and the best of the Granby in one hold. It's a terrific breakthrough that's just recently come in our wrestling and sort of completes this bottom work effort to turn things into a roll and reversal. There's no one hold that can be good enough for you to have success with on the bottom or in any position. But when combining the Granby with the Shrug and the new Granby Shrug, you have a series of things and a system that can be put together that's just virtually unstoppable when learned how to do correctly. You saw a demonstration of some of the things here that you're going to see. I'm going to also teach you the details. There'll be a segment for instructional technique that will show you the details of how to do the Shrug from the elementary beginning way right on up to the advanced techniques it takes to beat the very best people. And then we'll culminate that into the Granby Shrug and show how to put it together. In doing so, I'm going to show you drills to do everything individually and as a group or team, or as two people that are training on these holds. And the drills will be things that you can actually do on your own at your home, or you can actually coach yourself with them and become good at them. Bottom work is, in our mind, the offensive position. I think they label it in the rule book or whatever kind of book as the defensive position. We don't think like that. We feel that it's the offensive position, meaning that this is an opportunity to score. This is an opportunity to get points. It's an opportunity to get people in a pen. We look at it like that. And the shrug is an integral part of that. Sit out now, Tony, and let me show. Go ahead and just do you can just right on top of him, and just do a shrug to your head slowly as you cut that elbow in, high and high to the back out. Go ahead and do it. Back out, and go ahead and finish all the way through to a roll. Now that's a sit-out shrug. Now, I'm even going to get down here, boys, for a second. You stay right with me. A shrug is this. This is what the shrug is. You're wondering what that word means. A shrug is a twisting of the elbow and arm as your hand stays on that mat in such a way that you cut off the underhook. Underhook's going to be no problem for us in wrestling. In fact, the underhook is going to make things work. And so as I get my height and pull my hips out of there, I'm going to shrug my elbow in so that it comes down in where my butt was, giving me an opportunity to get the height up and get my head into a position to score. Now that's the shrug. That's it. If you can master that, Chris, do that by yourself. If and when you master it, you can shrug in all sorts of ways under all sorts of conditions. The key is getting that elbow to go where your butt was, having that head follow and plant in that mat so you're in a position to do what we call the back out, which is spinning on your head until you get in a position that you can sit and drive and score. Now, I say the back out like it's a sort of a light touch. The back out is the force in this hold. Once you've learned to shrug, and once you've mastered that, the back out is really what counts. That's the workhorse of the hold, and I'll show you more about it later. Now, on your knees right now, Chris. On the Granby, which you may have been able to see already, you know that the Granby is done when people apply a lot of pressure. And when they do, your head and arm goes in this direction to Granby, as he's doing here. The shrug is exactly the opposite. It goes in just the opposite direction. Now, you can do it against some moderate pressure, but in general you do it when it's a looser rider. Not a completely loose rider, but someone that's hanging and maybe looking to stop your Granby. And then you're going to come in this direction. You're coming this way, and your head and arm are coming through and go on, just drop right on through, and in that direction. So you have conditions here to go either way. And if you put the two holds together, you have something that's really difficult to stop and difficult to handle for the top man. So he can shrug right here off his knees and do a knee shrug. This is a way to learn. Go ahead and just spin in and drop through. Come back again. That's an excellent way to learn how to do it. And I'll show you drills on that later. You can shrug right off the whistle. Now sometimes, you notice these boys are all landed on their heads and are doing a back out. Sometimes it's such a powerful move, it looks like a Granby to you or to others, but it's really a flip shrug, where you power through and score in that way. Watch, Tony. Go. Now that's really a shrug, not a Granby, because of the direction he's flipping and because of the footwork that he's using is slightly different. You're always really aiming for a flip shrug all the time, but the top man is going to end up blocking that and holding it down and pulling in an underhook and doing things that are going to make you have to do this. As you shrug and drop, you're going to have to plant that head in, and you're going to be in this position. You're going to have to be. This is really the critical key part of the shrug. And as he does, you notice he's done it perfectly. He's trapped this man's underhook in here, and he's going to pull it across in a double shrug even. He's twice as far as he normally would be. And as he slowly backs out, you'll see the trap on the arm, and the beautiful roll situation developed in here, and this is very common in people that know how to shrug well. Come back again. So underhooks aren't a problem, or they aren't a serious problem. They can delay you in some ways and maybe make you shift or adjust, but the underhook doesn't stop the shrug. Now, if you were to sit out in a sit-out and there's no underhook and the man's riding over here, you're not going to have any trouble whatsoever. Go ahead, he's going to flip through. There's not even going to be a contest there if he knows how to handle his shrug. Come back again. So, when do you shrug? In general, you shrug when the man's hand's somewhere around the waist, but he's not driving and applying the hard pressure that he would be to try to break you down. He's moving with you and trying to control you. Also, this is a dynamic moving position, and wrestling, of course, is like that. The whole of wrestling is like that. And Chris is going to do everything he can to take control of the top man. This is our idea on bottom. Take control of the man on top, just the opposite of what this top man thinks. And so, going to do things off the whistle to do that, such as step the outside foot out and make a smash or switch-like motion here, making him hold on and drive your head back through and go ahead in here, a smashing shrug, or a changeover. Watch Tony. I'll tell you more about these things later, but this is one of the most powerful weapons. He's going to come out here and go to this side. Go ahead through, come back again, do it again, and come out to this side this time. That was a reverse smash, which looks almost exactly the same, but he's going to come this side here, change over, and shrug through, and go. Some people ride well on one side and not well on the other. Some people don't ride any side in particularly well, but you may Granby or Shrug better on one side, so you want to get them where you feel comfortable. The reverse smash that I spoke about just a minute ago is this. It's a reverse sit-out. He's going to reverse a sit-out. Let's face over this way just a little bit. He's going to reverse a sit-out and power that hip and then stop as he hits. Go. Freeze. There he's in a sit-out. The man's trying to come across. There's a great opportunity for the shrug. Let's do that fast right now. He's going to knock this man off of him in such a way that he's going to hit his shrug so quick, go, that the man has no defense for it because he's caught in between. Take that bottom again now, Tony. Go ahead, Tony. So there's a number of places and ways to shrug. You can shrug on your feet, standing. If you're up on your feet, go ahead, come on up on your feet there. Let him lock his hands. Just stand right up. Stand all the way up like you really would. You're right in here caught. Yeah, this is a great place to shrug. If you give him a little switch action or a little hook action, watch him turn back and do a standing shrug. Come back again. Make a flip out of it this time. And flip right through on a standing shrug. There. Now, that may look like a Granby, but you see, he went through in this direction. On a Granby, you go through in this direction. And the difference, too, is a situation that calls for it or makes you do it. Take the bottom now. Again, Chris, go ahead down there. Now, these boys can shrug equally well on either side. And a great way to set that up is to do a smash on one side. And we tend to have riders like this, and I'm sure that you probably do too. You start to do something one side, and they jump over and get the other side. So as he starts to smash in the other direction, he starts to smash this way. Now he's got the shrug open in that direction. So it's a versatile movement, and it's based around this. It's based around the idea that Tony's underhook can't stop me. I can still get him even if he's got the underhook in. Because as I shrug, I'm going to trap it. Now, if I just drop down like that, or just put it back here like that, or if I just drop down like so many turn-ins and things of the past have been, I've got great trouble there. It's going to be very difficult. But as I get some height up and then cut that elbow in, he's trapped. And there's my push off my toe, push into my head. Now I've got him. Okay? Come back again. One other thing about this that I want to mention before we end up getting into our instructional segment is this. It's rhythm. Everything in wrestling is rhythm. In this, the rhythm of the shrug is 1-2, 1-2, like a 1-2 dance step. He's going to step. If he's right off the whistle here, it's going to be a 1 and up on that toe, and turn that heel so he's got his height, and then 2, and he's going to flip through. Come back again. He wanted to hit me on that. I make him work hard, you know. Come back again. If he's in a sit-out, it's also 1, 2. The 1 gets him his height. Let me show you the height. The 1 is up, height 2, plants and pushes, and he shrugs through, in that case, a flip. So we're going to show you drills and teach you things to get that rhythm and to get that control with that underhook. Now, come back again. The shrug certainly can be stopped. There's no question about it. All holds can. And herein lies what we're talking about when we say the Granby system and why it's even represented that way, is when the top man does one thing, you be ready to do another. When you do something and it doesn't work, you have an alternative to go back to. And if you put 2 or 3 things together like that, you can really have a repertoire of dozens of holds, because you have situations that you'll always have a hold to do it in that situation. And the other thing is a master position. He's going to put himself in a position over and over again to shrug. And or, as you're going to see in a minute, Granby Shrug. And if you learn these master positions and constantly get to them, why then it's just a matter of keeping this man from doing something to you by controlling him on the whistle and getting to a master position and going. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Now, on the Granby Shrug is this. If you try to shrug someone, go ahead and start your shrug. Go ahead. To here, the man can tighten and pull and control that underhook and body in such a way that you can't get through. Can you get through? Try to. Hold him back. He can't. So instantly, Chris plants and pulls that arm and turns his head and comes through with a Granby that looked at first like a shrug. Now watch him do it again. There's a number of different ways to put it together. Watch him go to his head and turn it to a Granby. Head and shrug. Now that time he planted to do it. This time hit your head, turn it to a Granby. So as he goes to his head, Tony stops him. Watch him stop him. Boom, stop, turn into a Granby. Now that didn't start out as a Granby, but it ended as one, because he adjusted in the middle of it. It's a beautiful hold, and it's ever so hard to stop. It could be something no more than this. He shrugs and just gets planted in the mat as he tries to shrug. Just boom. Now plant and Granby. Sometimes it's a slight delay. But in a match and done quick, it's beautiful and tough. And what that does is puts together this. The pressure gives you a Granby. Okay? No pressure, try the shrug. He tightens up, there's pressure, hit the Granby. It seems complicated, but you're going to see it's an ever so easy thing to do. We're going to have you doing it, and boys at this clinic that are here with me now that are watching, we're going to have you doing it too. So what you've seen is a quick, kind of brief, fast demonstration. I know you can't keep up with it and probably learn that, learn from it that quickly. So what I'm going to do as I finish speaking here is start an instructional segment of the film that slows it down, puts it by the numbers, shows the drills, has some boys like this doing the holds that will give you a better understanding of the details and how to do it. Additionally, we'll carry it right on up to the advanced level, and that is the top man is doing everything he can, and he's advanced and knows how to ride and what to do. And we're going to show the kinds of things you have to do on that person in order to get a shrug, and shrug Granby, and even a Granby. And so give you the drills and the advanced setups to do it. Not that you have to be an advanced wrestler now to do it, just we're going to show you how to get them. Within that whole segment, there are going to be a number of live cuts that you see of wrestlers doing the holds we're teaching you right here, doing it against top competition, doing it in state championships, and doing it all across the country. And so the effort is going to be to try to teach you the shrug in this and show you how it turns into a shrug Granby. I advise you to look at the Granby tape also, because when those two things are put together, you've really got something dynamic and tough on the bottom. I'd like to show you the components of the shrug. We've had a little tape on it and show you some details. I just want to have one quick segment here on showing you the parts of it so you have a real complete understanding of it and how effective it can be. Okay? Take the top, Brian. All right, Chris. Go ahead and we'll do it from a sit-out first. Okay, there's 4, 5, 6 things in here that go together and that you do. And I'm going to separate them, but when we put them together, they're all going to be one continuous movement. The first thing is he's going to have this wrist well under control, and he's going to point that elbow out toward this direction, and that gives him a little extra pressure. He's going to have a solid position where he is controlling with this shoulder. He's got some pressure back with his feet. He's got his butt in good position right under him so he isn't going to get pulled back. You have to fight this position some and get a feel for it. Remember, sit-outs, you don't want to be here long. You want to get your hold and go with it. So, the first step is to bring your right foot in some comfortable fashion. Some people can bring it in more than others. He's loose and can bring it in. And that's going to give him, go ahead and bring it, Chris, that's going to give him the pivot that butt straight up on that toe. So he's on his toe, and his butt, see it come up in the air? All right, go back down. Now, generally, he won't get every part of his body that high because by the time he's up, his head will be down. And in fact, that's the thing, butt up, head down, and how quick you drop makes the hold. So as he gets his height up, he's also doing this. It's timed together, and he's doing the shrug of the elbow and the push off the heel of that hand. I mean, you're digging that mat. So watch him, and go ahead to your head, and I'll bring you right back. Just watch him raise up, push, come back down again. Now, the other things that are going on at that time are this. He's going to have his head, just slide back your head, Brian, just your head. His head is going to limp or whip through here. He's not just going to take it in his whole body. His neck is going to rotate on that neck joint there. So as he comes up, slow motion, come up with me, he's already down. See with that head. Go ahead and bring your butt up a little bit. His head's down. See? I'm actually stopping him from showing that. Show that, just that head part. Really whip it. Whip. Go ahead all the way to your head. Just whip. Watch your head whip. Generally, when you get a good whip, you flip all the way through. The other power component of it is this. His shoulder whips with him. He's going to actually, look right here, he's going to pinch. That shoulder's going to go with the head, so it's all power. Head and shoulder with the height. Watch him go, boom, come back again. And it really forces your way through. And the other and final thing, and really critical ingredient where you can't really be too effective without, is your left toe. He's going to bring it in on a 1-2 rhythm of wrestling. 1-2, 1-2. You develop the rhythm, you get the holds. And so he raises up here and pivots and pushes. Now hold still and let me hold you. Normally he'd be on his elbow, but the push, see the push? Go ahead and push hard. Push even till you fall. Go ahead, I got you. There. That's all right. I just want you to see you push. So you push off your hand, you push off your toe, and that makes you go under. Now he's got a target. In fact, I give targets. I'll take a piece of tape, and I'll put a piece of tape right back here where his butt is. And that's where his elbow and head should go. And I'll just come around and watch it. Ready? Freeze. In that head position. Go. Freeze. He's got it. And I'll just say, good job. I'll come over here and watch somebody else. If he doesn't have it, we'll do it over until he gets it and get that head. Because what you're going to do, you people doing it and people coaching it, you're going to put your head down here. And when you do, Brian, you can get your height up and everything. Go ahead, but just put your head there. Brian's going to cover him. He'll have his hips covered. They won't be clear. Go back again. Because as he shrugs, if he puts his head here, I've already got him beat. But if he puts his head by pivoting, of course, what he just did wasn't even a shrug. It's just the old-style turn-in. The shrug is twisting, boom, boom, there. See the difference? He was over here, now he's over there. Okay? Go ahead and fire through with this whip, diving. Don't even land on your head, just power through. Boom. That's what you aim for each time. All right, watch Brian. So we've got the components. We'll put them together. How do you put them together? In a series of drills, some of which you've seen and will see. I'll have him drill his foot coming in. Bring your foot in. 1, 2, 3. Then I'll have him pivot up. 1. Go back straight. All the way up now. 2. Back again. 3. Bring your left toe in as you do. Good. Go back again. Now this time, shrug that elbow by yourself. Don't even raise up. Just shrug. 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 I'll control the whole team like this. Or I'll just get him and make individuals do it. Then I'll say, take that head, give him a little space. Now just whip your head 3 or 4 times. Start whipping it. Start going with it. All right, now let's put all those together. Ready, Brian? Go. And flip through. See the flip? If he's a little stronger on his underhook or a little bit stronger on the hip, waist side or whatever, you're going to be on your head, which is where most of the time you're going to be forcing your back out. Watch him go to his head. And this time force and run and drive the back out and take the score. Components of the shrug. Simple, each one in its own. The key is this. We show you things about it and also show you how to do it in a variety of different setups and situations. I'd like to show you the back out. And the back out, more than the Granby or the Shrug, is actually the meat and the mainstay of our Granby system on the bottom. It's not fancy, it's not a big thing as far as crowd pleasing or anything, but if you don't have this, you won't be successful in the Granby series, and you have to have it. Let me show you what I mean by it and give you some details. Okay, Tony? You back out. Let's just go ahead through one and then we'll describe it. Go ahead and hit one and back and back and back and take the roll. The back out was the running in a circle part, or it's not really in a circle, and I'll show you why in a minute that it's not. All right, Tone, watch again. Start out in a sit out. Now, when you shrug, you're going to be in this position the majority of the time, and that is on your head. Most shrugs take you to your head. Some take you to a flip and a flip shrug, which we've already talked about and given you details on. So let me have him shrug right to his head and freeze. So he's on his head. Now, that's the shrug, and that was an excellent one, and he's almost clear right now, meaning clear. He's almost got his shoulder and head out already because it was a good shrug. Now comes the back out and the power of the back out. Now he's already started out with the proper ingredients. He's got his head buried in that elbow area. He's got this arm pulled and trapped like we've been talking about on that shrug, and now he's ready to back out. As he begins to back out, he's going to pull that hand up off the mat and trap up in here or between his legs, tight, and as he backs out a little bit, take a few steps, Tony. This arm will come out to the side. Now he has Brian's underhook pinched and trapped. Usually it's just cut right off, and he'll have to go whether he wants to or not. Back your butt, Tony. Drive it, and the roll comes. This is the back out. And if you're powerful on it and in the right position, it'll take him in that kind of situation. If the underhook is in, this is why I said earlier and have said all along, the underhook doesn't really provide much of a problem for us, except that you do occasionally have to adjust it to get where you want to get. But actually an underhook rider is more likely to be rolled. So, watch one more time. He's going to high shrug to his head, slowly. Back out, drive your butt, back, and sit and catch the leg for the roll. That's it. All right, Tony. Brian, by yourself one time here. The way that I teach this at my school, at my team, and also at my camps is I simply have a boy come right out and I will do this. Just get on your hands and knees here by yourself and put your head right in the mat. And I don't even tell him I'm teaching him the shrug. Go and raise right up on your butt and just put your arms up here at your side real close and tight. Now back in a circle and stay on your head. Go. Freeze. Now back faster. Go. Freeze. And back out again. Drive to your shoulder. Back out a little bit more. Back out. And sit. And I'll run them through some drills like that before they even know what a shrug is. And that's the back out drill. And it's it. That's simple. That's all you do. And you do it over and over again. Then sit out, Brian. Then, of course, you put the shrug with it. And as watch how quickly he drops. He's going to put that high head shrug in and immediately run the back out, and sit. That's it. And you have the back out. Now let me show you something about the back out. Why is this so good, or what is this? It may be a little confusing. Some of you, I don't know. I think other people have seen it, but it's so powerful. If Brian does an excellent shrug, the back out's not going to play that big a role. But most of the time, your wrestlers can't do a perfect shrug. They do one that's good enough to get them in position. into a back out situation, Brian, and hold it. Now he's got to force his way through. He's got to use the power in his legs. See, I'm driving into him. Watch him push me. I'm going to drive. Watch him spin and drive and go and drive and back on out and drive me down. See, his legs and the power of his lower back and legs are too much in that position. And that's the back out, and that's why it's so tough. Now, usually, let me just hold Brian 1 second. I hope this doesn't get my mic knocked off. Sometimes it does. But go ahead and just shrug with me up here and just drop in. You see, why the back out is needed so much is because I'm going to get over here and block him and not let his head come out. I don't want his head out, even if his arm is out here. I don't want his head out, and I'll ride him up in there. Watch these guys. I'll ride him up in there and just stalemate him and stop him. And he will ride you if you don't know how to do this. It's not a circle like it looks. It's really pushing into the man with the power of your legs as you semicircle. But he's pushing him. See him fall? Keep pushing, Brian. Keep pushing. See the man fall down? Watch this man. He's falling down because Brian's pushing him. And as he does, sometimes you need that kick and pull, and there's your roll if the underhook is in. This is the back out. And it is tough, and it gets you in a position to win the shrug or the Granby. Now, in the Granby situation, you generally are on your shoulder, and it's not as powerful, but it's pretty good. And just go to your shoulder, Brian, and show what I mean. See, now here he's on his shoulder instead of his head. Sometimes these guys are so advanced, they end up finding a way to get back to their head because it's stronger. But in here, it's the same basic thing. Let him get over top of you and sit your hip in, Tony, and ride him up in here. See, now, Brian, the only way out for Brian, stay right over him, trap his head. Crawl on in there and sit in there and trap his head. Yeah, like that. See, Brian, the only way for Brian to get out is to drive his butt to his head. Drive his butt, drive it, there. Over-exaggerate it to there. Now, as he does that, if there's no roll, which certainly could be, the guy could say, well, you're not rolling me, then you want to quickly get a 2-on-1 wrist control so the man can't slip it. Bridge up on top, come on him at right angles, and take your reverse. And the reason you have to get that wrist so good is because people are going to try to twist and spike around behind you like this. And so when you do control the wrist, as you control it, you really put the emphasis on wrist control and on tight, even before you sit, say you're stood in the shrug. Even as you're shrugging, Brian is going to, as he shrugs, he's really going to get the wrist going his way. Say, there, try to spike it. Now he drives his butt, and that further stops him, and then 2-on-1, and he's up on top. This is also the position for the forced rolls, which I'll show you later in another segment on the tape. You'll see some cuts now of some shrugs demonstrating the back out, some of which you've already seen examples of. Now watch some individual drills on the shrug. First, you can see example of the back out, where he backs on his head and then drops to his shoulder. And while he's doing it, he traps the underhook by lifting that arm up high and through, and then continues to back out and sits. This is a type of drill that you would do. The easiest way to learn the shrug is right off your knees on a knee shrug, where you twist and shrug that elbow and drop your head right into place. It teaches you how to put your head in the correct place and also to shrug your elbow correctly. And then turn that into a shrug back out. The knee shrug is also an effective way to actually do the hold in match situations. You'll see later on the tape. Here's another example of the knee shrug. Notice the movement of the hips coming out and bringing that left foot with them and then turning it into a head back out. The sit out is another effective place to do it. Now here he's doing the flip shrug, where he's going to flip and dive all the way through to his shoulder and then back out on his shoulder. Notice he doesn't sit all the way through, but lands on his shoulder and then backs out. Again, trapping the underhook. Very powerful hold. Very good thing to do off your knees and also
from a sit-out. And here it is from your knees. It looks like a Granby to many people, but it's a power flip shrug. He's going to step and flip into the back out. Now here's some components of the shrug: the footwork and raising up to get your height. At the same time, pulling your left foot in to plant and push, and then shrug to your head and back out. What you want to try to do on the shrug is to drop your head as quickly as you can while you're raising your butt up as high as you can. Up with the butt, down with the head. Now here's a head shrug from a referee's position. Most of the time your shrugs will require that you back out on your head, and so that's where you should really train and practice to be your best. Here's a knee shrug with the man on top. See how he backs his butt up into the man to finish the shrug. Another example of it. Notice that they're shrugging their head into the crook of their elbow, and then they have their butt up high over their head as they back out. Footwork, power shrug, where you're going to take a 1-2 step, right foot out to the side, and then the left toe pushes and drives off. Very quick, very powerful, as you can see here. And then you drive and force the back out. If anybody ever rides over your arm, immediately shrug them. If you know how to shrug, there's no way that they can stop you. It's like taking candy from a baby in this situation. Watch him just drop through and shrug. With the underhook, you have to work a little harder, but still then you'll cut off that underhook and force the back out. Notice the height that he gets for his back out and pushes the butt into the man. Doesn't just run in a circle. Now here's the pivot, and these are drills that you should do in order to master the shrug. Now this is an elbow shrug drill, and you do it 5, 10, 15 times. Now he's pushing off his left foot and pushing his way through on the shrug. Now he's going to shrug that shoulder in. And force the shoulder through with power. He's going to shrug his elbow where his butt was and then put that head in place so that he can run the back out. Up and drive and lift and force the roll. Now this will show you a close-up example about cutting that underhook off. See how he's pulled his arm and trapped and cuts that underhook off. I'd like to show you how the shrug differs from the Granby. I've given you some ideas about it. Now let me show you the 3 ways that it differs and make it easier for you to understand the shrug. Okay? Chris? The first basic difference is that you're going in a different direction. The shrug is going in and underneath him, where the Granby is coming out and away from the man. And so that's of course a big difference. An additional difference is that the footwork has a little bit different movement. It's very similar in that it's 1-2, but as Chris steps up, he's going to turn his right heel and rotate it. See the rotation of it? And that rotates his hips a little bit and gives him a chance to push and then drive his head through. And go ahead, Chris, and into a shrug. Now that's basically true for any way that you shrug, and you're going to see several different ways. You've already seen several different ways. So those are 2 major differences. And the third difference is that the shrug can be forced. You can make it work, whereas the Granby has to have the condition of pressure. If it's there, you can go. Fortunately, it's there a lot, and the Granby's an effective hold. But what's really more effective is the Granby and the Shrug, or having an ability to do them, because when one's not open, the other usually is. And the other factor is the ability to force the Shrug that you have here. Sit out, Chris, and let's show them. You can make the Shrug work for you by driving and forcing your shoulder back under and pulling up. Notice he's pulling the hand up. Sometimes that's not that easy, so what he'll do, put it back down, Tony, where it is, he'll use the power of his hip motions and legs to pop that hand up and force his way into a Shrug. If you're a good Shrugger, you can make it work for yourself a lot of the time. And that's another fundamental difference. Now, let's show them about the second level and our master position. Like the Granby, if you happen to have seen the Granby tape, the Shrug can be set up, or you use setups to use the Shrug. You control the top man. You take him out of what he's doing, and you make the hold work for you. Let's start in a referee's position and show you what I mean. A smash. We call something a smash, where we knock the man and drive him off and clear your hips. Knock him and drive him off, clears your hips a little bit, and come back to the Shrug. Try that again. Hold him up a little bit more, Tony, on it. You generally won't fall that much, but it's just a hip clearance, and it makes Tony hold back on him. And watch him now pull his head back through and take the Shrug. Usually that's a flip Shrug. It could be a low Shrug. Let's show that too. Everything about the Shrug and Granby, there's a variation. It could be a high flip. If he pulls you lower, it's a low flip. If he pulls you down on that Shrug, you may have to drive to your head and force your way through. The hold basically is the same, but sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high. And you make adjustments according to the top man. Let's say he pulls him down lower right now. As you smash and down lower. Now he has to force to his head and run the back out. Okay? So that's an example of it. Another situation, and the one that I want to show you on this segment so I can prepare you for seeing some of the things that you're going to see right after this, is coming to the second level or master position. And that's also in more detail on the tape. Let me just take him, Tony. Second level this is first level. We just call it that, so we have some order of things. Second level is coming up to your knee and planting it where your butt was and coming into a position that you have your back and head into them, and your foot is protected, and now you're ready to do a Shrug or also, of course, a Granby. Come back again. Let me show you about the second level. Face that way just a little bit. Face that way just in a sit. The critical points are this. He's going to raise up on his hand and his foot. That's his lift position. He's going to take his knee and put it where his butt was. Go ahead. And he pulls that hip out. His head will be back, and he's got pressure into the man, and that's the second level, or master position, if you will. This is a great place to do all your holds. He can Shrug. He could Granby. Just hold still. I'm just showing what they could do. He could Granby, or he could get his back into the man and stand up. He can do all three things equally well there. All right, let's show him with someone on top. So second level is driving your knee back to where your butt was and clearing your hips. See the hip clearance? Now he's ready for step Shrug, power Shrug, and back out. Okay? One more time, and we'll let Tony show it, and we'll have this thing ready. All right? So when you come to your second level, sometimes you're moving and fighting in here. Come back this way, Tony, and we'll give them. Sometimes this is a dangerous position to sit out. There's a lot of things can happen to you. Tony's got a nice grip on that wrist, and he's pushing it in. And when you grip the wrist, one little point, there's a little notch in there where the wrist and the hand separate in there, where they come together or separate. And that's where you want your fingers to go to grip it. A lot of people try to grip the hand, you're going to lose it. Get the little notch in there and get your grip with those two strong fingers. And then put some pressure in here to control it. Tony, maneuver around and slide to get position. Now he's going to fight his way up to his second level, step, Shrug, back out, and take the roll. So second level is a position that you score in with the Shrug and the Granby. It's a power position. You can do it a couple of other ways. Go ahead, Tony, and let me show. He came up with the wrist and did his Shrug then, and that's pretty good. But maybe more deceptive would be to come to the fingertips and maybe even make it look like a stand-up, or the top man will think that. And as you trap those fingertips right here, come to your second level, now he's going to step Shrug and then come back and take the finger and take the wrist as he shrugs. And Chris showed this last one. And another good example is a good type of second level maneuver is to reach and turn for the head, making him pull his head out, and then as he does, step Shrug and back out. And if the roll's there, you take it. So this is a position to work your holds from, second level. One other factor, take the bottom here, Chris, in a sit-out. This is one of the most forceful places to do your Shrug. And I want you all to slide forward a little bit. I'm going to show something about riding and pulling back. The top man, of course, has a number of things he can do. One of them is he can be pulling and riding you down and trying to, he could be pulling back like this. And if he does, you have to scoot back. In fact, you can scoot back, and then take, go ahead and do it fast, your Shrug. Do it again. Don't touch your knee or anything. Just pop right through. Lay back and pop through. Move up to the front just a little so you don't hit the back. So he drags you back, and you scoot back with him in the pause and take your Shrug. That looked a little bit more like a Granby, but see, he did what he felt. And that's really one of my goals in using and showing you on this video is if the guy pressures you and you feel it, you're Granby. If he doesn't, you can Shrug. He felt some pressure then because the top man put it. And my goal for him is for him to be able to do it without me even saying a word to him. He just did. And so come back down again. But let's show what I was trying to show. As the man pulls you back, you tend to go ahead and come to this side a little bit. Go ahead, plenty more, Tony, so he's coming down to the mat. And actually let him be pulled down to the mat. Let go of him and let me show you. Let go. Actually pull. He pulls you back to here. This is Shrug territory. You can kill him right here. If he's a pullback, start to pull. Go ahead, start to pull. Go keep doing what you're doing. Boom, there it is, right there. That's the best time to Shrug there is. In fact, we train it just like that. Pull, pull, Shrug. You can nail him right there. You won't be able to stay up high. The man won't let you. So you just lean and fall with it and throw your head right on through it. There it is. Another typical situation would be this. One in which the man is trying to get an inside wrist ball on you, especially from a sit-out. And he's trying to pull you. Pull your hand to there, that kind of thing there. Go back again. Chris will take it to him if he's a Shrug man. Watch him turn his hand, trap the underhook, and Shrug. Try to get that inside wrist right on him. So you have the top man doing the typical things he likes to do, and you got this bottom work that's set for just that and giving you an opportunity to, in this case, Shrug. That's why the Shrug and the Granby go together. The Granby takes pressure, and the Shrug takes not so much pressure, but just a waist ride of types, and you can make it work by forcing it. Now, I'll show you some examples and give you some live examples also and give you a little instructional technique on it, and come back later and show you a few other ways to do some of these same things. Now watch as he comes up to his second level. Notice he brings that knee back under where his butt was and pulls those hips out, and he's pushing off his left hand and driving his shoulder up underneath the top man. Now he's in position for a quick step, Shrug. 1-2 step, Shrug. The best time to do that is the instant you touch your knee. Notice his knee hits, 1-2 Shrug. 1-2 step, and flip Shrug. Or sometimes as you step, you end up in the back out. Now notice here, this is an example of pulling that underhook down. It gives you a little clearance and kind of loosens that underhook up for you, and you force your way through. Watch him come up again. Second level, clears the underhook, forces a quick Shrug. Now, in this case, he's going to set it up by turning on the head. As he reaches for the head on the top man, top man will pull it back out of there, giving you a position to hit your shrug, usually a flip shrug. Watch him turn, 1, 2, and flip. Now, in a sit-out position, you want to take control also. And here's an example of how to do that. Notice he's pushing and sliding his shoulder back underneath the man, forcing his way into him, and also tightening up very tight on that grip around the waist. Kind of a little sideways, crawfishing kind of a motion, back underneath the man, and then quick, 1, 2, and shrug. Another way you can control a man who has his head on the wrong side is to push your head into his, making him change sides, and then shrug. If he won't change sides, then you change and shrug on that side. Go where the head is. Now he's going to force a shrug by peeling the fingertips down right in a sit-out position. Watch him this time peel it out, pull his elbow inside, and force the shrug. You can make the shrug work in that way. Another way to set up a shrug and force it is by smashing. Notice the technique for smashing. Now watch him smash, turn back in, and shrug. The man tightens up as you smash him. Watch him walking back a little bit and turn back in for a shrug. Now watch some live examples of the shrug. Let me take a minute to show you about the changeover. It's on the Granby tape if you happen to have seen it in more detail, but let me give you a quick, brief look at it and then show you some examples and some technique on using the changeover for your shrug. All right, Chris and Tony. Changeover means this. The man starts on one side, and in this case we're on the wrong side, and Chris is just going to change him over and hit that hip and just plant both hands and come to both knees. Now, he wouldn't ever do this. Come on around, Tony. Come on around. Just right there. Just put your knees down. Right there. Now, where is he? He's on the other side. It's as if now he started on the side that you may be good at already. In fact, when you first learn, you only get good on one side. Now eventually you should get good on both sides, and these boys here are. Let's go back and show that again. Now, when Chris changes over, he's not going to come to his hands and knees. He's going to shrug on the way and never even hit to his hands and knees. Watch him do it. Ready? Go. And take your two. All right? Now, let's take the wrong side again. Tony's still on top. If a person knows that you're a Granby Shrug type person, he may be coached to get on the wrong side. It happens to us all the time. And so you need to be tough with a changeover. And it's a quick, powerful movement that puts the man in a position where he either has to kind of let you go and cut for one, or he's got to follow and try to grab you. And so the changeover is this: moving your foot, go back down again, step it out to the side, and moving your hand at the same time. And then all in one motion, he's going to hit this hip and reach across his face for power. Watch the power. Go. Boom. Now he can shrug right there, or he can come to his knee to the second level and shrug there, which is what we generally do. Okay? Now, Tony, take the bottom, and Chris, take the regular side, right on the regular side, and Tony, face the other direction. Now, if you become competent in these holds, you'll be able to do them on both sides. And then you can change people over and get them on the side they don't ride so well. So he's going to move his hand across, foot to the outside. Now watch him change and hit his hip, reach across, come up to a second level, step, and shrug. Okay? Now there's a variety of shrugs. We've shown you several already and talked about it. There's a knee shrug. You can do it off your knee. You can do it off a 1-2 step. You can do it from the second level. And on the changeover, all of those work. In fact, usually it works so easy, it's not even as difficult a time as it is when you're in a sit-out or when you're already kind of alerted into what you're doing. So the changeover is a weapon. Let's just show Tony by yourself a couple of drills. Change over to one side and hit that hip. Move your right hand and hit. Now just come up to your knee. Now change back to the other side. Step, and get your footwork. Step and change. Come all the way to your knees. Now step and change. Step, change. Now shrug. And then shrug. All right, Chris, do that same thing. So you can double change over. In fact, you'll have to do that. So change over once, come back, and shrug. Okay? So the changeover is a weapon to set up the shrug as well as the Granby, and we'll show you some techniques and some training methods on it following this segment. I'd like to show you about the reverse smash now and show you how it sets up the shrug. It's also on the Granby tape in maybe a little bit more detail, but let me give you a brief summary of it here and show you how potent it is for the shrug. Okay? Chris, take the bottom. The reverse smash is really just a sit-out, but it's a sit-out into the man. And you'll do it under a number of circumstances, but in general, we just do it almost no matter what the top man's going to do. It takes away the top man's holds. Okay, a reverse smash, he's going to pull his right hand across here and slide his right hip into the mat. As he does, he smashes him back off. That's the smash part. Drive him back off and plant your hand. You're in a sit-out. Now, this is a place to shrug. In fact, it's one of the very best places to shrug, and there's Chris's chance for a high head shrug and usually a back out. But you always want to try to flip first. All right, let's start out in this direction so they see the part of the shrug. This is one of the absolute very best ways to shrug. It is a lightning fast and tough hold. And the reason is because when Chris sits and shifts into this hold, hit your hip, Chris, and hold it. See him pull Tony and whip him. Before Tony can recover, Chris will plant his hand and shrug him. Plant his hand and drop through on the shrug. Okay? Do that again. Go ahead and Chris, go ahead and shrug right into your head for your back out. All right, let's do it quick. Reverse smash and shrug. Jump, smash. Now, Tony had no chance to recover. Once he lost his hips, I don't know, the cameraman may even have lost him. It's so quick. Come back again. So the idea here is to get to the sit-out so quickly that the man can't recover and you have your chance to shrug because you've cleared your hips, which is the object of bottom work, almost in all holds. You can also take it to a second level. Let's do that too, Chris. Hit your hip. From this position, he can swing up to that master position. Now, he's in Granby Shrug territory. Step and shrug. In this case, we're showing the shrug. Step, shrug, back out, and take the roll. All right, come back again. All right, Tony, take the bottom. So, on the reverse smash, you're going to follow him a little better than Tony just did, aren't you? On the reverse smash, you have second level ability, you have sit-out shrug ability. Sit-out shrug, Tony, as you smash it. Smash and shrug. Now, I want you to do it without any hesitation. Slight hesitation there, still effective, but as soon as you touch your hand, shrug. Now, let me make one point real quick. When you reverse smash, you're driving that shoulder back into the man right from the beginning. As he starts to move his hand, he's already started that way, and he's going to continue as he sits to that hip to come in. There's a shrug. He needs no more than that. If you put your shoulder back into them, you'll shrug them. You will shrug them because you're there underneath him right where you need to be for easy shrugs. It's harder to shrug if you're out front sitting out here, but if you drive under him one more time, face this way a little more so we can sure they can catch that. Watch his shoulder. Show it, Tony. Go. Shoulder under. You see? And there's a nice shrug. Okay? So the reverse smash is just a lightning powerful sit-out, a reverse sit-out, if you will. And it is, of all the things we do, it's the number one thing off the whistle right now that we like. The changeover is right in there with it, and of course coming to second level from sit-outs. But for first move power, you take the bottom here one more time, Tony. The reverse smash is unbeatable because it stops a tight waist, slow motion sink to a tight waist, and just come out. Right, that's it. See, it killed it. Come back again. It stops an ankle ride. Man goes for your ankle here, it kills it. Come back again. It stops pressure. If a man puts pressure, you may have to slide a little extra, but you can still do it. Of course, if he pressured, you'd probably take your Granby without going through this. So the kinds of things that a guy can do on top can be neutralized by that reverse smash. We'll show you some teaching technique on it and some examples of it. And I encourage you to try to adapt this to your wrestling because it's a great first move. Now watch the mechanics of the changeover. He's going to move his hand and his left foot at the same time, sit to the side of his left leg, come up reaching for the head, and 1, 2, and shrug. Most of the time you flip on changeovers and get enough power to flip through. Notice him coming up, driving his shoulder up underneath, coming to a second level. Now this is an example of the reverse smash. Probably should have come in a little bit later, but it'll show you the mechanics. See him sit to his hip and drive the man off and drop into a quick shrug. Now let's go back to a couple of changeovers again. Watch how quickly he shifts to his hip and then comes up to his second level. In this case, he's able to shrug immediately. Watch the head drop through. As he changes over, immediately drops through, forces the back out. You get a lot of rolls off of changeover shrugs. Change over, shrug, and back out for the roll. Now on the reverse smash, you have the very best of opportunities for a shrug. Notice how quick and powerful it is. He's going to sit his hip and drive that man off and then hit a quick shrug with almost no resistance. It's just set up so well. If the underhook's in, then you trap it for a back out and a roll. It's a great way to stop a tight waist. As he tries to tight waist you, you're going to sit to the hip, shift to that sit-out position, and hit a quick shrug. It also is an effective way to stop a ankle ride. Now watch some live examples. I'd like to show you the great new terrific hold that we have, the Granby Shrug. It's a combination of the Shrug, which in itself is a terrific hold, and the Granby, which of course is also a terrific hold. And the combination of those two holds is really a dominant force on the bottom, or it can be if you learn how to do it like we've been teaching you. Now, this new hold is something that's combined the best of both, and it's just recently been developed here in my wrestling room where we stand right now, and I have a couple of youngsters here now that can do it very well, and I want to show you what it is and give you some techniques on it, and then I'll give you some instructional techniques and drills to do it after we do this. Chris, let me have you first by yourself. Now, you know the Granby, and just slowly show one, Chris, is just across your shoulders, off your knees, is done with pressure. The Shrug is done with a waist ride and no pressure, or not much. Just back it on out. Go ahead and back it on through. There, okay? So what the Granby Shrug is an attempted shrug where Chris tries to step and shrug. Go ahead, Chris. And maybe even gets to his head. I'll show you a variety of ways. But as he gets here, the top man clamps and pressures. And then Chris can't back out. The man won't let him. And so there's the pressure that you want for the Granby. So he turns, drops, and Granby's through. And so what you have is a Shrug and a Granby in one hold. And why it's so, great and a real breakthrough, Tony, come on with it, is that people will train hard and have a terrific feel for stopping a hold, shrug holds and turn-ins and things, and riding and pulling back hips and ribs tight in here. And when you do that, you set up the Granby. So what we've got here in this hold is a way to get the Granby when the man's doing everything he can to stop the Shrug, and that's really hard to beat. It's really a fantastic breakthrough. So watch Chris step and Shrug, and at this point right here, he can back out and score with no problem. Go ahead. And there's his Shrug. Come back again. Now, Tony, I want you to stop this, man. Now, as he steps and shrugs and gets to his head, Tony's got the pressure. He stopped him. He can't get through, see? There's no back out right here. He can't get through there. But there is pressure, and he can Granby. All he has to do is turn his head, pull his arm across, roll across his neck for a Granby, and that's the Granby Shrug. And it happens quick. In fact, if you watched him do it, and he's very, very good at it, if you watched him do it, you wouldn't know what hold he did. You wouldn't know if it was one or the other. You probably would say it was a Granby. But what it was, face out a little bit that way, and go ahead and hit one. Go ahead and shrug. Come back again. Do another one. Tony, tighten up on that shrug part now. Don't let him get any kind of a shrug. He steps into a shrug, step, Granby out. It's very simple. In fact, the kind of Granby it is like an elementary Granby where you would just use for warming up. Just warm up with a slow motion Granby. Shooting the arm, pulling it across. That's how it works. It's not a flip Granby with height and power like you've already been taught in the other video. So it's a shoulder roll Granby. All right, now get down and let's look at it one more time. Come to your head and let's show them one more time the details. The key element here is that the top man is putting pressure, and the key technique is that the bottom man turns his head, drops to his shoulder, pulls his arm across in the roll. Okay? Now, it can be done, come back again, it can be done like this. It could be sort of a half shrug. Sometimes Chris will go and just bang in like he's going to shrug. He doesn't even shrug. He just bangs in with his shoulder. Bang in. And shrug. Granby. I get my own words mixed up sometimes. It's a start of a shrug. The man tightens up, there's a Granby. Sometimes you do one and you really fly into that shrug and you get pressure down, then you plant and Granby. So it's a combination. Chris, do that. Shrug, plant, Granby. That's also a Granby Shrug because it was a block shrug, turn to a Granby. But the most effective and the one that you'll have greatest luck with will be the one that you go to your head for your shrug that I showed you right at the beginning. Head, shrug, turn to the Granby. Okay? So, what you have, as I stated in the beginning, is a combination of the best of both holds, which I consider to be outstanding holds. We and on my team and our people at our camps and people that know how to Granby wrestle have had tremendous success with the Shrug and Granby. What this does is opens up a whole new world through which the Granby people and Shrug people can go. Because now when one stops, the other can work, and it's open. We'll show you some examples and live examples and try to give you a little bit of detail on it in some instructional tape following. Now watch as he drives his head down into a shrug, is blocked, and then slips across in the Granby as the man pressures him.
Garfield over Vic Nader of Mill Godwin. 4-7-3. The winner in the 125-pound weight class.
Now watch as he steps into a very ordinary attempt, even poor attempt at the shrug, but watch the top man come around and pressure to try to stop it, and look how easy he slips right into a shoulder roll and then takes him in a forced roll.
7-3. The winner.
Notice how the attempted shrug makes the man stop him, and in doing so puts the pressure. Watch as the top man comes around, how the bottom man will just Granby right off his knees in an elementary fashion. Even with the leg caught slightly, it's still a very effective hold. Watch it again. You're beginning to see now how helpless the top man is made by having to stop your shrug, and how easy it is to Granby after that situation, making the Granby shrug just a terrific hold. I'd like to show you now about the forced rolls that I've spoken about before and that you've been seeing already. If you've if you've seen the Granby tape, you saw a lot of them, and I told you that we were going to teach you about it here, and you've already seen several probably on your live tape cuts that you've seen on our Shrug tape. If someone follows and flips with you and you catch them in a 5-point move, why, it's terrific, and it happens often. And of course, that's one of the great things in wrestling. A 5-point hold in any situation is what you're after. The Granbys and the Shrugs and the Shrug Granbys give you an opportunity for this. It's one thing that makes them exciting. It's one thing that makes them crowd pleasing. It's one thing that makes your wrestlers enjoy wrestling more, because there's some excitement in it, and there's some challenge to try to get these things. It's also enjoyable to watch as a coach. So forcing a roll is a situation that occurs when you don't get these quick 5-point rolls where they jump over and step over, and you have to come back in it forcing it, and that's really more common. It's more common for us, and I really like to make my wrestlers and the people at my camp especially good on it, because even if you don't Granby or Shrug well, if you finish in here well, you're in good shape, and sometimes people say you Granby'd even when you didn't, because you know how to force rolls. So let me show you the situation for it. Okay, Brian and Chris? Take a shrug to your head and hold that position. Just hold it there. Okay, here we are. This is a position to force your rolls in, or back out position is the place to get your rolls. And if you get to a clear back out with your arm clear to the outside and the underhook's in tight, you can force the roll by driving up into him, which you've already seen in the back out. But if he's loose, or if he's not even in an underhook and he's got you drop down, then you're going to have to turn to force rolls, and by that, it's really like hip rolls. In fact, that's what it's going to be, but there are a number of ways to do it. But you get to it with a Shrug or Granby. The first most common situation here is in this back out is just to control his knee. Control his knee. Give him a situation, Chris, so he can do it easily right there. And often you may even have been down, laid out on that shoulder, and you're trying to score here, and Chris won't give him a chance to lean that hip into him, right? He won't give him a chance, say. And he won't give him his 2. So Brian actually doesn't want his 2. Brian wants 5. And so most of the wrestlers that are good in here won't even try to take 2. They'll reach behind that knee, and then they'll come up in a situation that we call a rock and roll. And that is, he's going to rock his way in, or slide and kind of rock to one side, or slide to one side, and get his body up under him. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 slides. And then he's going to roll by pulling his knee and elbow across and plant. This is everything. As he sits his hip under, his shoulder will never touch. He walks his feet, flips them off. Notice the quick trap on the arm and the Granby pin, and he's got in control for a 5-point situation. So the key ingredients is height, getting under the man. And the next and most important of all to be successful is to be able to, hold on a second, I want to show, is to be able to plant your elbow. And actually, you really don't want to put weight on it very much. What you really want to do is plant your hip. But in the process, you get driven to your elbow. You need to have it pointing in this direction. If you have it back here, it's going to collapse, and you're not going to be able to carry him over. So if I could take you, Brian, just once, and hopefully it doesn't affect my mic when I do this, but in order to get that trap, you have to wrap tight, kind of like a belt you're cinching on, you know, and putting it around to get just as tight as you can. And as you cinch that arm around you and plant that elbow, go ahead and try to pull out, Brian. Just stand up on your feet. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Go on either side you want to go on. Just try to get it out of there. It's not possible, you say. Now, if I'm just holding it, it's out. But if I'm pushing it in and locking a little weight on it, I can just roll him right here, as many a roll people just got that feel for those kinds of things, hip rolls and elevators and all. That's, of course, what they do. And that's what we want here. And that's what I'm trying to give you insight into. So, first point, get underneath him. Do 2 or 3 slides and show him. Slide. Don't let him get under you so easy. Slide, 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 and cut. And lift and roll. Rock and roll. That's the thing to do on the outside. Now, he can grab that leg in different ways. Sometimes the knee is not there. Back out and around so we can show that leg. And sometimes you have to grab it at the ankle, and as you go ahead, Brian, show him pulling that ankle as you cut through, and, you know, take the ankle back and then trap it in there if you can. And sometimes you're high on the butt. It depends on what you can get. But if you can do this, if you can lock and rock and lock that elbow in place, you've got an effective chance to roll. And of course, if you can't get under him at all, if Brian's trying to get under him on this rock and roll, and he won't give him any chance whatsoever. No, just lay so. Just completely lay out. Get off of him, all the way. Go and get way off of him. Now try to rock under him, Brian. He can't get under him. Try to get under him. He's just going to back out quick, take his 2. So in other words, it's not as if you've lost some opportunity to score. You're just not going to be able to roll a guy that wants to lay out like that. So what else can you do here? Or what are some forced roll situations? A lot of times, Chris demonstrate this time,
A lot of times you shrug and or Granby and end up with your hand between the legs. Just get in that fix, in here. And sometimes the man has stepped over so easily for you and unaware. You've seen a lot of them. Just go ahead, and it's easy pickings. But, of course, let me help you back. Of course, sometimes they don't. And go on, lay down, Chris, and get a little bit under him, a little bit better than that, say. Just slide under him a little bit there. Now, go on, lay down on your hip. Now, just lift your hand up here and just try to roll him. Try as hard as you can to roll him. Can you roll him? No. Plant your hand, dive your head under. Dive your head under. Now walk your feet, walk your feet, walk your feet. Do it again. I want more walks on the feet so that people here can really see what it is. You can force your way under just by diving. Sometimes 2 or 3 dives. Just dive a little, dive. Now walk your feet, walk your feet, walk your feet. There's no lifting. There's no lifting. It's science. It's a little law of physics in there about the fulcrum and this and that and levers and everything. You know, I had to take physics classes and everything. And I don't know the real detail, but I know that's what happens. And you can feel it. It's not really once you get walking a little bit, he comes right over. But that's not that common. In fact, that's difficult against a real tough guy down in here. He doesn't give you that. Now remember this, and let me say it right now, and don't you know that I said it. I don't like people in between the legs on ground rolls and Granbys. That's not the way I believe in it. Now, I believe in knowing how to handle it and what to do, but there's some dangers in here, some real dangers about people taking your arms out and every other kind of thing. So I don't promote Granbying and trying to grab the leg that much. I promote and want you to Granby through, and as they step over, get them, and if they don't step over, force the rolls. So what happens here? Let's turn around and let them see, around the other way, and let them keep walking, and let me show you what else happens here. All right. Try to walk through like we just did. That's good right there. You try to lift them, they don't lift. One good try. Lift, they don't lift. Now, step over this leg and drive your knee down into the mat by pushing hard off that foot, like that. And as you do that, let's go back down again. As you're getting ready to step over, you're going to, wait a second, you're going to wrap this arm tight first. That's it. Just wrap tight as you can. At the same time, step over and push off that foot. Push, push, and drive his hand down in your crotch. Get it way down in there. Don't drive it to where your hand is. Drive it straight in the crotch. Now he's going to change hands. Can you picture that? He's changing hands in here. Now this hand is now free. Now the essence of the roll comes back again. Hold it up. Don't do it. He's got to get his base up under him. In this case, he's going to get his forearm right up over that head. Put your forearm in that mat. Start turning and lifting, walking, and inside leg roll. Okay, Brian, let's have you on that same thing. Let's do it from a little different angle. You've seen several of these in the tapes. This is a very common thing for these guys. Okay, he's going to hook the leg tight and step over quickly and drive, freeze. Now, why does he step over? The power of Chris's leg here in this position, just stay right there, it's just too much for a little arm. And so instantly when he sees that, he gets his leg to help out. Now it's leg and arm. He's got a chance to do this. He pushes down and changes hands. Don't go easy, Chris, and fight it a little bit. Now watch him look up, freeze. See him plant the forearm and head and lift. Now he's going to walk his feet and watch him fall off, easy. And there's your chance for your Granby pin again and your 5-point hold. This is an excellent thing to do. Remember, drive the hand in, then grab it. Don't push it to where your other hand, don't push it to here and grab it. You've got to get it straightened out to do it. Okay? Now, another situation. Same fixture down underneath. When in here the man takes this leg away from you or prevents you from really being effective with the rolls we just showed, almost always, and he's already done it, this knee's exposed in some way, and watch him turn, reach for the knee, and take the far knee, or a hold that we sometimes call Wayne's roll, after one of my wrestlers that used to wrestle for me who did it well. We just said, Wayne does that so good, do Wayne's roll. And so I named it in my wrestling room after him, and far knee, Wayne's roll. situation. But in here it is again, rock and roll. It's the same thing. It's only an easier roll because you're so much farther under. He's going to slide his knee. He's going to lift his head. He's going to cut that hip and sit that hip under and plant on that elbow. Watch the power as he lifts and throws them off. This is really something that we do very often, and it's a coordinated thing, and that is this. Brian's trying to get this leg. I'm fighting back. Go and hold on to that leg. I'm fighting it out of there. Go ahead and just change right to it. Do it again. And then we'll drill it like that. Go ahead. You got this leg. I pull back. Change right away. Don't wait for me to tell you. You just change. You change, he'll have it right there. Be right on it. And that's good for the people that know this, which is almost everybody. My mic kind of having trouble on me. People that know how to do this, you know, and rip your arm off. You don't want to hang in with people like that. You want to immediately get changed to the far knee or Wayne's roll and take it from there. So you have rolls in the back out where you can come in and force your roll. You have the inside leg roll. You can also slide under and make it work. And you can come over to Wayne's roll and that far knee roll and make that work also. The ingredients, of course, are that elbow and that hip, basically old-time stuff, but new ways and ways that are a little more advanced to getting into it and give you a Granby pin. Now you're going to see some examples of it and technique on it following this segment.
Pick it up. All right. Take down Chris.
I hope the Shrug and the Granby Shrug will be helpful to you. When you combine the Granby with what you've learned on this tape, you will have a system that can be a dominant force on the bottom and that will carry over into all facets of your wrestling. Other Granby system tapes are available. The mailing address for Takedowns Volume 1 and the Granby is on your screen. Additional tapes will be coming out very soon. Now I'd like to show you a preview of the takedowns, followed by a preview of the Granby.